Solaire and NMG Celeste are looking to go the distance here in top 8. We just saw Solaire take it away 13-11 on Breeze in map number 1, and a 13-8 win there for NMG Celeste on Icebox. I'm Ash, and on the desk with me I've got Tala. We've got map number 3, the decider here for quarterfinals coming up.
Yeah, and now on map number 2, Icebox, we saw Solaire struggle a bit, and on map number 1, Solaire narrowly took it to their 13-11 before going to overtime. So now on Fracture, this is going to be interesting because Solaire has run the same team comp on every single map thus far, but I feel like the team comp they have right now isn't really that conducive to a map like Fracture. Like, instead of the Sova, you would definitely prefer to have a Breach instead. So I'm wondering if they're going to be making that switch up.
I think it would be really nice to see that change come through, especially because Hypers is constantly playing the Neon Duelist, right? So it works really, really well for the setup, especially on Fracture, where it can set Hypers up to get up close and personal. Not that they don't have an issue doing that as is, but allows for potential for even faster reflanks, faster rotations from that team.
Yeah, and I'm definitely excited to see what we're going to be seeing from them in our Agent Select. I definitely feel like that Breach would add a lot of value to Solaire's team comp, just being able to give them a little bit of extra crowd control power, I would say, to make sure that Neon is a little bit safer when you're going in for those early engagements.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that too, I feel like we talked about it a little bit in like the early pre-show before map number 1 in this best of 3 with our lovely host Saki, but these two teams are really fighting tooth and nail to make it out of top 8. Both teams have, consistently placed within top 16, top 8, time and time again, really more so struggling to get over to semifinals and then the next leap to take grands, right? So both teams with so many improvements that have happened over the past several months, looking to finally prove themselves in this GCA.
And now we are headed into Agent Select, so let's see what the team comps come out of these two teams. Which one of them is going to come out on top and finally push through this run, Pearl? I thought we were on Fracture.
I also thought we would be heading over towards Fracture, but Fracture was actually the first ban that went through, so I think we were thinking about the map select screen originally. That ended up actually not being the truth. Yeah, guys, get pranked.
We're going to Pearl!
Surprise. Well, I mean, regardless, Neon, still pretty damn strong. We're going to see one now on both sides because Pearl's known for those extremely long rotation times.
Yeah, I mean, but the defenders have such a huge advantage when it comes to these rotation times because the attackers have to either go through mid or make a really long rotation through their spawn, and it's always so much longer to go from the attacking side. But on the other hand, when it comes to the defense, it is a really difficult map to cover when you have all of these angles. And finally, we actually see a few different agent compositions coming out from these agents. We have the Fade finally coming into play. We also have the Sky on the side of NMG Celeste and Astra on both sides.
The Astra is definitely a favorite here on Pearl because it gives you that opportunity to just have so much more crowd control. Often you do see the double controller coming out as well with the Viper, but I think the Viper on Pearl is a little bit more difficult to deal with as far as setup, as far as just anchoring down sites and whatnot, because you can stay, especially defensively, but with how long the rotates are, you're better off having, the controller that can go into that worldwide view. Place down utility from anywhere, and that is a huge difference maker when the rotation times are so darn long.
I really do prefer the Viper for the sights though, because she's able to cover such long angles, and especially if you look at B site, that is a huge problem that you do have to contend with. So having the Viper be able to just cut off the entirety of that, or even on the A site, cutting off both art and the back halls, instead of having to place down 3 separate smokes potentially on that A site in order to try and cover everything.
Time for the hunt to kick things off. An early Trailblazer come out here from Clutch. We'll give info as to where the trademark is, now taken down and not actually addressing that B blink angle there towards doors. So just adding some more pressure onto Solaire to hold that with the body instead. Already forcing out a lot of utility here by Art in mid. NMG Celeste showing a lot of presence, now cutting noise, slowing down that tempo.
It's looking like they want to head back towards that B site. Still 5v5. Some util expended from both sides. No fast lane for Scene. Only a single relay bolt and that high gear. And they're waiting for the guiding light to go out first. It doesn't connect to anything, so instead they're just going to be trying to get themselves on the site. Second guiding light actually doesn't connect either, but the Haunt does mark one. The Prowler going to try and figure that player out, but unfortunately because of the gravity well, the spike is pulled just slightly. However, the NMG Celeste, they seem to be falling to the guns of Solaire, and things are looking really dicey now, as there's only one player left standing, but never mind. Teddy is fluffy with the frenzy, just spraying down 2. Now waiting for the Nebula to fade, has another one on the spike if necessary, and ooh, the taps. Taro definitely didn't expect Teddy is fluffy to be that close by. First round going to NMG Celeste.
Once again, another scrappy pistol round between these two teams. I feel like that's kind of how nearly every single pistol has opened. Just gunfights on gunfights, chaos across the board, and now going back to that Spectre life here on the side of NMG. Celeste definitely favored over the Ares on this map for sure, considering all the tight angles that you can have the defenders holding. And kick things off. More conditioning to come through here with the Trailblazer. This time followed up with a quick jiggle peek. And first blood into the hands of GG. That's Habibti now off the board.
Taro going to get flashed by the fighting light. Immediate rendezvous after first shot of the Headhunter is fired. The guiding light doesn't connect once again, and they're headed on to that A site. Chai just alone inside that Nebula in a main, and just gets taken down through the smoke with spray. Now Spike headed on to the site. GG going to get that down on default, while Leah is peeking in with the Prowler. Does actually connect to one and is able to destroy the Prowler in return, but with the Spectres and that extra firepower, so many people are going down. Bodies are dropping to Hyper's Sheriff though, and that is such good economic damage thus far. 2 with the Sheriff, not a bad eco round from Solaire, and NMG Celeste secure their second.
Taking a quick look at the ultimate economy. No ultimates online quite yet, but GG is just one away from that Nightfall. So NMG Celeste could use that as a potential turning point here to convert the round into their favor up against Solaire's buys, but again, likely not to see something like that happen unless an early pick is gleaned from that side. And once again, likely going to have this Trailblazer come through. Yep, there it goes towards double doors. The eye to check out Art. And quick blitz this time around. NMG Celeste, after all of that conditioning, actually pushing in towards mid for the first time.
Ooh, that Prowler actually just not going to get around the corner. Portero is able to find the first. It's still a 1-for-1 trade until Taro finds that second pick. And Akame, though, sitting inside the Nebula. It's another 2 with the Sheriff, and now Chai has to secure a 2-piece of their own if they want to have any hope of winning this round. Silently walking through. I don't know if that drop makes noise, but those shots definitely do. Now Teddy is fluffy, placing down the Nebula. Chai not afraid to aggress through. It was a fake smoke. Chai thought they were safe, but as soon as it faded, Teddy is Fluffy finds a pick. 3 in a row.
Hey, once you got NMG rolling, they just, I don't know, it turns like into an avalanche. I can't even call it snowballing at this point, right? They've just run away with so many rounds in a row. They're on the last map on Icebox, finally closing that one out. Now looking to prove themselves and take it home here in quarterfinals. But again, very early on, only the first quarter of this game is underway thus far. But a really nice and comfy advantage already for NMG Celeste. As I say that, Habibti will actually pick up the first blood, garnering a slight opening here as the rest of the team on NMG will make their way towards B.
While a 4v3 situation isn't the worst you can hope for, especially with the Toward Force online, fast lane being used to aggress, and Teddy is Fluffy does unfortunately get exposed, but there's no one on the site to contest that plant. BT though, on the flank, this is a really interesting position, especially with another player joining up from mid. GG hears it though. Oh! That guiding light unfortunately blinded everyone there, and they do go down, but now they're trying to hold this crossfire. Teddy is Fluffy and Clutch both swinging in tandem, and now seen for the last pick onto Leah. It seems like NMG Celeste are unstoppable right now.
Just really beautiful contact plays in that anti-eco, but eco frags across the board. It's finally, again, the chance for Solaire to shine with this buy online. Operator in hand for Taro. Likely gonna see that move over towards B long. It's an op is on Pearl, it's really the main way that you can test B, right? As a defender, it's the widest choke point on the map, really difficult to hold just with utility, so you really rely on your sniper in those scenarios, and then you kind of play a bit more for util on the other side of the map, such as A, where we're seeing the haunt come through, and actually it seems like it slipped through the cracks of the map and does not land.
Ooh, scene going in and finding one while the Prowler is coming through. The Seeker is on the other side from NMG Celeste. Habibi actually takes one down with the fragment nade, and the spike not yet down on the site. Scene finds Habibi before going down themselves, and Hyper is trying to resurrect the KO. Akame now on a late lurk through mid. Teddy's Fluffy finds one. They still haven't resurrected that KO. Don't feel safe enough yet. Taro does have that operator to take down one, and now Teddy is Fluffy with the Cosmic Divide looking to pick up that spike instead and make a rotation. I think the goal is just to pick up the spike, but I don't think Teddy is looking to rotate at all.
30 seconds left.
Well, with 30 seconds on the clock, Teddy doesn't really have the option, right? It's such a long rotation over towards spawn. Defenders have a bit quicker of a rotate, so Teddy is Fluffy would have been stuck towards B in a really sticky situation. I like how Solaire is just playing together here. Sneaking back towards the crosshair of Taro, but the contact play does come through. Hypers for the re-peek and refrag. Solaire sticking together in this round will earn them that first round on the board.
Yeah, I feel like Teddy could have just picked up that spike and ran all the way through mid, but I mean, they just might not have felt safe enough to do so. But I feel like since Solaire, their only play there is really to wait. Since they are in a 2v1, they don't want to send one of their players away and then risk being in two 1v1 situations rather than one 2v1 situation.
You want to play? Let's play.
Remaining.
And Taro, with that little bit of a wallbang on GG, Solaire are finally getting a few rounds under their belt, building up that economy as well. They have that single Cosmic Divide ready. Meanwhile, NMG Celeste, they only have the overdrive from Scene, but they still have the money to buy back in, so it's not likely that they try to go for the overdrive in this situation, saving it for a round when they really need a little bit of extra oomph behind their eco.
Oomph impending. Oomph impending. Solaire doing really nicely to once again switch up their setup. They've been kind of keeping NMG Celeste guessing. It's tough here for Hypers, who does end up getting caught in that second relay bolt, but seen to come on top regardless, despite being concussed themselves. Now, so they do have a hole in their defense, but NMG Celeste, they have one player low as well. Taro holding down the fort there will get the pick onto GG, but again, the contact plays from both of these teams are working out so nicely for the trades.
Goodbye.
This is such a bad choke to go through, though, when you're just blind peeking through. Teddy is Fluffy ends up finding the pick, though. Leah, unfortunately, slow to the trigger there. But now we also have Habibi taking down Scene, and Teddy is Fluffy just doesn't expect someone to already be lurked up in the B garage, and as soon as NMG they start slowing down their pace a little bit on the executes, they get taken apart, and Solaire are finding some cracks in their strategies. NMG Celeste deciding to go for the timeout now, as this is likely their last buy that they have, and it's probably going to look like maybe passing a gun off to Clutch while Scene pulls out the overdrive and potentially can secure another round. But Scene, obviously, we haven't seen them play Neon as much, so the overdrive might be a little bit more erratic.
Yeah, normally seeing Scene on that jet pick here for NMG Celeste, but there's also potential discussion as far as Teddy's ultimate as well, right? You've got that Cosmic Divide available. It's really nice for, honestly, actually, okay, it's really nice for both sites. You kind of just split that in half. It does make it really difficult to take that backside control. Meanwhile, on the B side, you can get one of those like very clean open plants there as well. Just very much so utilized to secure those safe plants or in post-plant situations. But the name of the game will be B, based on the positioning here for NMG Celeste. We'll likely maybe see the recall. Yeah. Okay, setting that star up. We'll recall it, allow for the crossover, and then try to pinch Taro there, who's off in position towards pillar.
Taro. Ooh, I thought that Prowler was just going to go by for a second there, but now they know that that forced the rotation out of the chamber. Now already back falls as well. Nightfall invested from Solaire's side to try and find a few, but even with the Prowlers, they don't feel safe going out of the smoke without a few flashes. Taro is able to take down Trailblazer, and Akame on the late lurk now through mid to find Leah, but still trades going back and forth. Solaire now at a player disadvantage with only 2, and especially with the operator in the mix, is going to be a tough retake. Can't check the angles. Taro just gets her head taken off. Now Habibi, as soon as that gun animation is coming back out, Clutch with the operator shuts that down.
Really nice crossfires had there towards CT, and NMG Celeste avoid the tie for now. You mentioned that it was a really important round for them to win because of their economy, and now feeling a little safer and pushing Solaire into that awkward money position, which happened so quick considering the fact that Solaire did manage to get those 3 rounds in a row, only losing out on the last one. But NMG Celeste have made the round so tight that Solaire couldn't actually build up any savings as far as money goes.
They're trying to play aggressive towards B-Link now with a few relay bolts, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be capitalized off of. Scene backs off almost immediately and is headed with the spike back towards B-Long instead.
You are divided!
not playing up towards Filler for the first time. Overdrive to come out like you had mentioned as well, and the fast lane denies so much vision. Luckily, Taro is able to get out and hypers with the first pick. It's a little bit more scary for NMG Celeste, but they're still able to get that spike secured and planted, but it's also right at that corner here at the edge of sight, right? So it's easy for the defenders to try and tuck the defuse.
Ooh, this is tough though because they're using
Oh my
a
goodness.
lot of utility. It's the gravity well. They did get them off of that defuse, but without the flashes, without the guiding lights,
No!
through. And as I say that, clutch! What was that? Just straight dry peek through the cosmic divide and finding a 3K. Leah finds one more. Akame was trying to classic her down, but still clutch. What was that play?
Okay, I do also want to say though, I don't know if anyone else noticed, but Clutch not only dry peeked like through the cosmic divide, the first time it did it with the knife out was like trying to go for those like knife through the wall kills before just like full sending it with rifle out. It was just chaos incarnate there. Not a clean round by any means from either side.
Well, the 3K was clean at the very least. Nicely done from Clutch. And now NMG Celeste and Solaire. NMG Celeste, at the very least, guaranteeing themselves a tied half here scene. Just able to sneak past the pings from the haunt. And Leah going to use the Prowlers instead. Scene does get delayed because of being bitten by that Prowler.
Oh, no.
And Clutch also
The
gets caught
self-stun.
in their own teammates' relay bolt, and Leah apparently has a judge, so that's just going to be a death sentence in such a small channel like Art. Both Prowlers finding their marks, and NMG Celeste at a player disadvantage for the time being, with the Null Command going out from Solaire.
Continuous delays too with not just the null command, but the suppression to come out, the 0 point to stall, so nothing available here. NMG Celeste waiting things out. We'll spot one out towards match sight. GG does have that Nightfall available, but in this player disadvantage, not looking to garner that quite yet.
30 seconds
Posturing
left.
here, just under top mid to come out from Solaire. So much information gleaned by Chai. Oh, the
Oh,
reflame.
Chai is actually going for the push. They don't know that there's someone all the way on the flank, but they would hear the footsteps if there was a rotation, so they're just staying right where they are. And now with only red seconds left, it's going to be really tough. I feel like the call here should just be to save, but no. Daddy is Fluffy and Akame, they're doing so much, but still a thrifty round acquired. Not going to get the spike down either. No! Chai is able to find 3. Akame with the 3rd of her own, but still, nicely done from Solaire to whittle down the time, make sure that they didn't go for the rotations too early, and good aggression from Chai to gather so much info. And there was just no counter to that play when Teddy is Fluffy decided to lurk and push out.
At the very least, NMG Celeste do have the Nightfall to carry into this
Out of
last buy round for themselves, but both teams currently in the hot seat as far as money. Either one on this round lost will be the one with the awkward buy going into the last round before we swap sides.
Clutch now going with this Trailblazer, trying to find some early info. The Nightfall has been invested, and there's also the guiding lights, but the gravity wells and the nebulas are overwhelming the site. And Akame with the tour de force not able to find the value, and now the counter ultimate has been going through, and they are all stacked up behind pillar. Oh, not the C's. Oh gosh, they are all there, all decayed, and Taro is able to find an easy pick. It's easy pickings for Solaire, and it's looking like a tied half.
I
Last
really
round in the
like
half.
that utility usage coming out from Chai on the Astra. Towards B main, talked about how earlier it's a really hard choke point to stall out just due to width alone, right? But the way that the stars are placed, Chai elected to use one to actually smoke off the right side and gravity well the other. So you're either being pulled out into the open or you can't see whatsoever. So it just completely stalled out that tempo that NMG Celeste was going with, the speed that they're looking to execute towards B. Now, we just heard a quick ball be popped towards the other side of the map. And mid control, the name of the game here once again. Celeste.
Spike down.
Chai with the 2K as well, and now looking for a third. All 4-piece from Chai with only 5 HP left over. Now it's just all left up to Akame. Chai 5 HP and a Dream. They're going to use the Prowler. It actually just sails by, and Chai spots out the shoulder, gets a little nervous on the last shot, is picked out by both the C's as well as the concussion from the relay bolts, and it's 6-6 half. Solaire and NMG Celeste once again tied at the half.
Such a scary choke point to always push through there towards that B link. Especially with the changes that have happened on Pearl as well. That box towards the double doors now shortened into a half box makes it more difficult for you to hide. You can't just cross over and wait for a pick. You're out in the open. Now we're going into the next half of the game. Tala, we're 6-6 once again.
It's just these teams are so close in skill, and it seems like they can never really get that ball rolling a little too much without being countered quite a bit as soon as the other team adapts. So then once they get a few rounds under their belt, the other team is going to start learning. And Akame, is able to just get such a nice pick and scene. What in the world? My frenzy does not work like that. And just such good control of the sprays with the frenzy. Now Clutch finding that last one. NMG Celeste with the flawless first round. Definitely not what I was expecting.
Trying to see. Okay, NMG Celeste. Largest vectors across the board. Akame going to be saving for an early, either an early op or maybe to go even for that hero rifle in their bonus. But Solaire postured very heavily towards mid control this time around, trying to take it solely from top mid. Akame already peeking, will rendezvous back out to safety, and now the blitz execution pending to come through. GG trying to hold down the fort here in Art, but Discipline, the name of the game in this buy-up round for NMG Celeste. They're falling back, playing that connector space, not allowing Solaire to overwhelm them with numbers, trying to play safe.
Very slow play from Solaire now coming out. A bit more hesitant even on the eco, but postured towards A. And we have two players that are kind of sitting in the mid connectors and one player sitting in Art, while the Astra is looking towards A main. Easiest site for her to cover, especially considering you only need a singular star to just hold that choke point.
Go, go, go.
Expect Nebulas are going to be going out very soon, especially with that high gear being activated, but it's a second too late on the 0 point. Still, all that utility is able to go out. GG is able to find one, and there's just Chai coming in for the quick flank, but that's all that they wrote. It's just one player down, and NMG Celeste with 4 players left alive to bring guns into the next round.
Hey. I said it earlier in the mid rounds. Say it again. Just really nice discipline overall on that retake situation, right? NMG Celeste just playing so far back. They got the info, repositioned, played together, not looking to allow Solaire to really pick them off and take any of their guns in hand. And looks like it's going to be a different kind of round though for the bonus. They're going to push out towards mid really early on. You can see so fast up towards mid already seen, pushed out towards that B link area. They've got the information that it should just be this heavy hit towards A site. Teddy is fluffy alone taking guard, SMG in hand, playing, bringing around the Rosie.
Oh.
Somehow living longer than expected, but Chai with frags will take him down, and NMG Celeste all of a sudden melted clutch in a 1v4 situation.
Clutch. No, nothing can be done by her. And now Solaire have four players left alive. Not a lot of eco damage even. But Hypers does have only enough to buy into that Spectre, but with the help of requesting from a friend, is able to pick up the Vandal instead. And now NMG Celeste, they have a 1-round buffer between them and their opponent on their buy-up. Akame already going for that operator, going to contest the long angles on B, and NMG Celeste, they don't really have much on the A site. Solaire, knowing that they have this dedicated operator player, are instead headed towards A.
Already drawing really fast rotations, but it's all B. Despite hovering outside of B main right now, just waiting for the calls to be made by the rest of the Solaire team. All 5 players invested over towards the A side, and now just able to completely run up. And the second that Chai gets the spike initiated as well, the Cosmic Divide will be available for the post plant.
GG now, trying to make something work, but Solaire, they're just tearing through NMG Celeste now, and it's a retake situation in a 2v4. Akame looking with the operator. This is such a tough gun to have in the retake, and it's a problem that we saw with Solaire before as well, being unable to clear with the Headhunter either, since there are no bullets left in that chamber. So now it's just so slow, methodical. They're using that gravity well. Akame is actually able to find one though, but I think that's all she wrote. It's going to be a save for now. Leah attempting to meet them in their spawn though, perhaps hiding suicide, but instead heading towards Art instead. I don't think that they're going to meet in this round.
I respect the save. There wasn't time left either in that situation, but with the money on the side of NMG Celeste at the moment, having those 2 full shields, the rifle and off carried over, could be huge difference makers to stave off any round lead to come out from Solaire. Because again, we're going to see that postured up towards B halls, and with the pings to come through though, it looks like Solaire might actually be looking for that halls control quick and dirty. We've seen Hypers do it before.
Akame finding that first pick. Nice shot with the operator to just flick over those boxes, even while the Neon had activated the high gear. And that Cosmic Divide coming out quickly. It seems like they're trying to fake once again and draw the players over. It's working at least on GG, but you still have 2 of NMG Celeste players sitting close by on that A site. The Trailblazer to try and clear out mid is going to probably, no, doesn't actually spot that one player that is sitting close towards mid connector. Teddy is fluffy though, just kind of sitting right next to the smoke, and Chai turns the flick.
Spike initiated by Chai, so another ult point invested into that Cosmic Divide. GG does have the Nightfall available though for a retake situation. Scene just pushing in so aggressively. She's gonna go for the gun. The whiffs come through, but Haruti does come out on top regardless. Now 1v3 here for Akame, off in hand. Time is ticking. Does manage to see the elbow of one. Notice that there's a double up there, but surprised that I think. Okay, yeah. Akame was just like, are they not gonna gravity well it? Instead saying it for the concuss. Just gonna go for the swing. Chai does clean up, and now Solaire with a 1-round advantage for the first time here on Pearl.
And I feel like this is how Pearl's attacker advantage kind of comes into play. They try to even it out by making the rotations very, very long, but the fact is it's so hard to cover this map from all angles, and they also make the default plant spots quite easy to play for post plant and off site, especially on that A site. And that time it was played in a little bit more of a corner, but the default plants are incredibly safe and at the same time very easy to watch from main. But now Scene is going to try and go aggressive. This is their chance to equalize the odds. They definitely hear the running. Or heard the running. And they're using the concussion and the relay bolts to try and shut that down. It works. GG, however, trades one back. I'm not sure if they're gonna expect another one though. It's a Spectre this time. Teddy is Fluffy finds two. This is such a messy round and a meltdown from both sides. But in the end, Solaire having the gun advantage. They are having the player advantage. And now it's left up to Clutch to clutch.
Able to pick up that Vandal silently though, so a bit of a better chance to come through, but has really nice timing. You can see that Tara's still anticipating the flank to come out because of the fact that Solaire did check towards the site, holding the angle. Clutch will fall, so double digits earned here by Solaire in what was a round that NMG Celeste tried so hard to convert into their favor. And we're going to see now another timeout being called here on this last buy from NMG Celeste before they're pushed onto another eco.
Yeah, I definitely expect this one from NMG Celeste. They have that Cosmic Divide. They're one away from Akame's potential tour de force if they are able to find an alt orb or an early pick with that operator. And it just seems like they are definitely falling apart since they do make such quick rotations. Solaire has fed into that, and when they go so aggressive, especially on an eco, I feel like that's something Solaire expects. They expected it, especially on Icebox, but they just weren't able to capitalize and convert. But on Pearl, they are able to do that.
I feel like the other thing is also on the side of NMG Celeste, they have been consistently going for that aggression on eco rounds, right? So at this point, Solaire, they have that really big read as well, and NMG Celeste are getting punished for it, despite still being able to do some damage and whatnot. But Solaire going for more so a default positions, NMG Celeste with another stack though, so leaning heavily towards the A side, maybe looking for an early engagement before falling back.
I'm Solaire, talking towards mid with that singular spike player that's just looking at main. This is very dangerous though. If you have this one player using the prowlers and has also invested that Nightfall, knows there's at least two close by and has decided to just back off and wait for the backup from Hypers, who comes in swinging with the overdrive. Oh no. But
down
in a
A.
corner, got marked, but they don't care. No prowler left over.
Oh,
Akame is also able to hit the flick onto Hyper while sliding, but Habibi just goes around for the corner. Now it's all left up to them to pick up the spike. Clutch is just looking for control, dancing around these boxes, all three of them from main. That actually doesn't spot Clutch out. It wasn't thrown far back enough, and there's some damage being done to Gravity Well as well. A dink through the boxes, and Taro is able to swing for the kill. Solaire now up to 11. NMG Celeste broke for their round, but they have to save, or else it's going to be match point, and there won't be any money left to buy back in, unless, are they going for it?
They're going for it. They got a Tool de False online. They're like, okay, we're sending it. We're not going to play for OT right now. We're going to play for this next round. We're playing to stave off match point from Solaire, but I mean, that was tough. Clutch really couldn't have done much else in that situation.
You want to play? Let's play.
As well. 0 point to glean some information towards our match. Anyone on the side of NMG Celeste guarded. This is a really quick blitzy round to come through. Teddy's Fluffy, good for 2 through the smoke. Seekers already expended here by NMG Celeste to garner additional information. They know all three players of Solaire were postured towards A main. This will give confidence to push out through mid. And Scene just maybe waiting for the rotation, sitting for information.
The disrespect there to try and still aggress through that gravity well, even though while it was
Teleport.
active, the Prowler also was stalled and there was no information. And I think Solaire just got a little bit too confident. But now Taro, he's trying to even out the numbers. Meanwhile, Scene coming in on the flank. Leah just running, clears it, and Scene just goes down. Now a 3v3 situation. Rotation possible with 40 seconds left over. But it seems like they still want to aggress this A site. Not sure if the controller is going to be placing those
30
smokes
seconds
down.
left.
Are there any stars left? No, there aren't. So they have to plant in a little bit more of a safer spot. And oh,
Spike down.
Taro and
A.
Clutch, they trade 1-for-1 almost immediately. Now trying to plant in a safer spot. That's default. Taro's just going to hold from main with the operator or the tour de force. On the other side, they also have Kame with the tour de force, and it's going to be Taro that wins out that chamber battle. Now it's all left up to Gigi, spots the toe, and Chai swings off the content. It's match point for Solaire. NMG Celeste unable to capitalize off that two-piece. Oh my god, she just sprayed an L into a wall, didn't she? Damn, Chai.
UIB fam, going to Astral to
Hey,
do them
you know what?
Astral
At this
Guardian things
point,
I do.
the match has been so close. You know,
They're
you
allowed. They're
gotta,
allowed.
you gotta do the trash talk when you can. Try to get into the heads of the enemy because it's a mental game too, right? When it comes down to it, you break that mental, you usually break the game for the other team. Buying up with everything that they've got though on the side of NMG Celeste.
Covering
Once
it.
again, going for that A main aggression. We'll find some info. So knowing now that if Solaire is outside of A, it's super deep, likely leaned more towards mid and B. Pressure placed by Taro over towards B Link as well, and there's one hiding by connector, so NMG Celeste playing slow, playing patient. They know that the trademark is there, don't want to reveal location quite yet.
Oh my gosh, wait. Taro is able to
Oh,
find one.
what?
But actually, they don't know the flank is there. They used a SAR and used a Nebula on it, so they don't know. And those are actually pretty quiet.
You watch it, find
Taro
it.
still dedicating to the flank watch though. Cosmic Divide going down. Taro narrowly able to avoid that. The Trailblazer is going out. They know exactly where she is. She's in such a dangerous position. Chai is trying to back them up with the Nebulas, and now it's just hiding behind the boxes. They're not expecting her to swing out from the right side though. They're able to find one before they go down themselves. And Akame is also going to be falling to Habibi on the site though. 3v2 situation. Solaire still having the numbers advantage, but now with that hunt gone, there's not a lot of info to be gathered, but still Habibi with the shots, finding two clean shots onto NMG Celeste in order to close out map 3, 13-8 on Pearl.
Welcome back, Saki. Also, how were those last 3 maps?
Hello, hi, how are you? I am back here with you both, Ash and Tala, and just speaking a little bit about it, Ash. Solaire with a 2-1 score of the best of 3. Breeze was a slow show, 13-11 in favor of Solaire, with players like Habiti and Akame popping off. But then when you move into Icebox, it was a fair match, going 6-6 in the first half, in which Celeste was able to lead on for defense. And throughout day 2 of Game Changers Academy, we saw 3 best of 3 matches of the series for the top 16 and 8 teams. We're already 3/4 of the way through. How are you guys holding up?
Why don't you go first?
That was some pretty long matches. Definitely not what I expected from these two teams. But considering they were so close in a skill matchup, that it makes sense that it went to the 3rd map. But I definitely thought that Icebox was going to be a real struggle for Solaire. But I thought NMG might have had what it takes to close out on Breeze. And it just went to the 3rd map because Solaire had that really pop-off play from Leah. And at the end of the day, Solaire closes it out. So I guess both of our predictions were wrong, but it was like, it's a good kind of being wrong.
It is, and that's something we want to see going into these semifinals and grand finals. Let's go ahead and check out what the bracket has for us. All right, Ash, can you lead us on with the bracket and what we have to see?
Well, we know what happened on stream, right? But let's talk about the other side of the bracket a little bit. Tactical Throwers and Dart Monkeys on the other side of the bracket, and then you also have Revival on our side of the bracket here for semifinals, right? But I want to touch about these teams that we haven't seen on stream. Dart Monkeys, big change that actually came out for their team. You know, they lost that core 5 that they originally built things up with and worked with so long, and now are subbing in new players, trialing them out. Tactical Throwers, another team on the board here that has just been an up-and-coming free agent team within the Game Changers scene. That matchup is going to be pretty darn heated in tomorrow's semifinals. So that's I don't know. Things are looking spicy already.
They absolutely are looking very spicy. And Tala, what are you thinking?
Oh, I'm definitely thinking that the other side of the bracket is definitely going to be a very exciting match. And tomorrow we will be able to see if Solaire are able to make it to the finals. For that, I think Solaire versus Dart Monkeys would be a really, really entertaining matchup for that final match.
And that's also because there is a prize pool of $1,500 on the line. 1,000 going to the first place winner and 500 going towards the second place winners as well. And a question that I have for the both of you, let's start off with Ash first. If you were one of the semifinal teams, Ash, going into tomorrow's match, would you rather be on the side of Dart Monkey and Tactical Throwers, or would you rather be on the side of Revival and Solaire?
Oh, like wait, hold on. On whatever side of the bracket? Like, would I rather be on...
Absolutely, yes.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. What's interesting, I already talked about the Tactical Throwers versus Dart Monkeys matchup a little bit, but what's interesting is this side of the bracket. The side that we've already seen on stream. You've got Solaire, who is a name that's been around for a really long time, now finally making their big break into semifinals. But they're also facing up against another new team. Revival is a team where there's a couple players on there with familiar names to the scene, such as AO Eclipse, Area 51. But as far as the other 3 members on that team, are not really names that we've seen within the Game Changers scene at the forefront. So it's hard because it's like, on one side is a little bit more predictable, but really tough matchups for Dart Monkeys and Tactical Throwers. But then on the side of Solaire versus Revival, I feel like that's anything goes. I'm risky, so I'll take the Solaire versus Revival side. I like to play with the heat a little bit.
Okay, and how about you, Tala?
I'm not really sure. It's it's a really hard question, definitely, because all of these teams, so much talent, like Ash mentioned, some like people we don't know yet. It's a little bit of mystery coming from especially the top side of this bracket, which is going to be that Revival team we don't know a lot about. Solaire, we talked a little bit earlier about how it has a little bit of a revolving door of players that come in and out of that team, but all of them are usually very experienced, well-known players in the scene that kind of had made the name for themselves within Game Changers. So it's hard to say when it comes to the side of Solaire and Revival. On the other side, Tactical Throwers and Dart Monkeys, both teams that have been around for a while, but Dart Monkey is obviously just such a household name, and the fact that they're trialing new players, there's also a little bit of mystery there. So I honestly think I could go either way.
Absolutely, and I give both of you big props for answering that question. It was a tough one that I threw at you, and personally for me, I think I would be on the side of Revival versus Solaire, given that Dart Monkey is a household name. So I just want to be a little bit risky, just put the name out there and see, like what abilities that one team can bring out. But then again, in tomorrow's semifinals, we have Dart Monkeys, who will be going head to head with Tactical Throwers from the lower bracket, and Revival will be going up against Solaire in uppers. 2 of these 4 teams from upper and lower will meet in the grand finals to declare themselves as the champions of the September Valorant Game Changers Academy. Now, this is where the story of Solaire and Dart Monkey could come back, like you were mentioning, Tala. But now the narrative has changed. Seeing either teams like Tactical Throwers making it into grand finals would be game changing as well, Ash.
Hey, It definitely would. And, you know, 3 out of 4 of the names in semifinals are like, I don't know why I feel like I'm like talking about Hogwarts houses when I say that, but like 3 out of 4 of the names are just so familiar, I think, to Game Changers fans in general, that like we're gonna have all the different fan bases cheering on, right? But I really want to see how far Revival can take this as far as the underdogs.
And that's something I am super excited to be seeing, fan bases coming together to cheer on their favorite team and to see who will make it out into the grand finals. Now, last question for you, Tala. What type of plays, changes, or advancements do you think we can expect for tomorrow?
I definitely think that, I mean, we saw Pearl today, and I think Pearl is such a rare map that you actually get to see, because most of the time, if it is a Pearl in the map pool, it's the decider. And a lot of these games do just go to 2-0, but then when you have something that's going to a best of 3, you go to Pearl. I think that's really interesting to see what teams like to play, because Neon is definitely a good pick on Pearl because of those fast rotations that she can make, right? But I would also love to see, could you work in a Raze in there because of all those tight angles in mid? Could you work in perhaps a Jet for the long angles on that B site? It's really interesting to see if people like to play the Astra or the Viper, and I just want to know if these teams are going to play those maps again. But then again, most of the time you do just see maps like Haven, Ascent, Bind over and over again, and there's not really much variety there.
Right, and as for tomorrow's match that will be streamed, we will be seeing Dart Monkeys versus Tactical Throwers. Before we close it out here, Ash, I'm going to throw it over to you. I'm going to tactically throw it over to you, actually. And do you have any last few words?
No, I'm just happy to be back for another GCA. Unfortunately, won't be on the desk tomorrow, feeling a little bit under the weather, so thank you guys all for bearing through that with me. But it's been a pleasure working with you guys. Epitomes and I have history of working together, but it was really fun working with you on the desk for the first time, Saki.
And it was really fun being able to be on the desk with both you and Tala as well, Ash. I do hope that you feel better. But everybody, go ahead and stick around for tomorrow's match of semifinals and grand finals starting at 12 p.m. Pacific time for day 3 of Valorant Game Changers Academy, presented to you by Verizon and sponsored by AIM Labs. This has been Saki, also known as Reacting, joined with me, Tala, also known as Epitomes, and of course, Ash. See y'all tomorrow.